What would happen if Niger ended China's influence over its oil? If Niger were to do so with a Western nation, Niger would face the consequences. But because it is China, things remain calm. It values Niger's decision. Once, its oil was mainly controlled by one Chinese company. But as Niger has given the lead to a local company, China is fine with it. Has China proven itself to be the best partner? Was this just a test? Let's find out. In a big move, a group of ministers working for Niger's National Council for the Safeguarding of the Homeland made two important decisions on March 3, 2024. These decisions are about who gets to control Niger's oil blocks, which are areas where oil is found and extracted. The first decision, made on that Sunday, was to give control of the main oil blocks in Niger from the China National Petroleum Corporation, CNPC, to the Nigerian Petroleum Products Company. This is a big change in who manages the valuable oil business in the country. Additionally, another decision was made to strengthen SONIDEP's power in Niger's oil industry. SONIDEP is a government agency. This decision gave SONIDEP more access and control over oil blocks in the northern part of Niger. It also added another oil block to SONIDEP's responsibilities. These decisions show that the Chiani administration, led by Brigadier General Abdourahmane Chiani, wants the government to have more control over Niger's oil resources. By taking control of CNPC and giving it to SONIDEP, the government is trying to change how the oil industry works in Niger. And how did China respond to the decrees transferring control of oil blocks in Niger? And what are their intentions regarding future cooperation? In response to the decision to transfer control of oil blocks in Niger, China took a diplomatic approach focused on understanding the changes and maintaining good relations. They sent a group from the China National Petroleum Corporation (CNPC) to Niger to talk with Brigadier General Abdourahmane Chiani, the head of the military junta, showing China's commitment to keeping up positive cooperation despite the new rules. The delegation, led by China's ambassador to Niger, expressed their interest in continuing to work with Niger on finding and using oil. Even though the junta was changing who controlled the oil blocks, China said they still wanted to work together with Niger and emphasized their dedication to being friends and cooperating. The ambassador made it clear that China is committed to building a stronger relationship with Niger and to creating a better future together. By meeting with the junta, China showed that they are ready to talk and find solutions that work for both countries. While Brigadier General Abdourahmane Chiani's junta is trying to have more control over Niger's oil, China's response shows they are willing to adjust to the new situation and keep working together with Niger in the oil industry. And why is China not responding angrily? Diplomatic relations between China and Niger have fostered a long-standing bond rooted in mutual respect and cooperation. Dating back to historical interactions, both nations have strived to maintain an amicable relationship characterized by diplomacy and collaboration. China's approach to its diplomatic ties with Niger underscores its broader commitment to engaging with African nations. Recognizing the continent's significance globally, China has consistently emphasized the importance of nurturing partnerships based on equality, mutual benefit, and respect for sovereignty. Within this framework, China has demonstrated a commitment to supporting Niger's development goals, while also recognizing the unique challenges faced by the country. This has been reflected in various forms of assistance, including infrastructure projects, economic development initiatives, and capacity-building programs. Moreover, China's diplomatic engagement with Niger extends beyond bilateral interactions to encompass broader regional and global issues. Through platforms such as the Forum on China-Africa, Cooperation FOCAC, and the United Nations, both nations have engaged in dialogue and cooperation on matters of common concern, ranging from peace and security to sustainable development. In navigating potential challenges or disagreements, China and Niger have prioritized diplomatic dialogue as a means of resolving differences and strengthening their relationship. This commitment to open communication and mutual understanding has helped to foster a constructive atmosphere conducive to cooperation and partnership. But let's talk business. What economic interests does China have that make it care more about the win-win approach? China's economic interests in Niger, particularly in the oil sector, play a pivotal role in shaping its approach towards the bilateral relationship. Niger possesses considerable oil reserves, and Chinese state-owned enterprises, notably the China National Petroleum Corporation (CNPC), have heavily invested in the country's oil infrastructure and operations. These investments are strategic for China's energy security, as they contribute to diversifying its sources of oil imports and reducing dependence on traditional suppliers. Ensuring stability and cooperation in Niger is therefore paramount for safeguarding China's access to these valuable energy resources. Beyond oil, Niger represents a potential market for Chinese goods and services. By fostering economic cooperation and development in Niger, China can create opportunities for its businesses to expand their presence and access new markets. This aligns with China's broader economic strategy of promoting trade and investment in Africa as part of its Belt and Road Initiative (BRI). China's investments in Niger extend beyond the oil sector to include infrastructure projects such as roads, railways, and telecommunications. These investments not only contribute to Niger's development, but also create opportunities for Chinese companies to participate in infrastructure construction and development projects. By supporting Niger's infrastructure development, China can both promote economic growth in the country and enhance its economic interests through project contracts and investments. Diversifying its investment portfolio across different regions and sectors is a key strategy for China's economic growth and resilience. Investments in Niger offer China an opportunity to diversify its investment portfolio geographically and sectorally, reducing risks associated with over-reliance on specific markets or industries. Here's a reminder to please like and share the video and subscribe to our channel to watch more videos on Black culture, history, civilization, and identity. Let's continue now. China's emphasis on win-win cooperation is driven by its desire to cultivate long-term partnerships with African nations like Niger. By prioritizing mutually beneficial economic relationships, China aims to build trust and goodwill, which can contribute to the sustainability of its investments and economic interests over the long term. And apart from economic benefits, what else makes China respond nicely? China's long-term perspective on foreign relations and investments is a fundamental aspect of its strategic approach to international affairs. China's policymakers understand that meaningful and sustainable relationships cannot be built overnight. Instead, they prioritize strategic planning and foresight, considering the long-term implications of their actions and decisions. This approach allows China to identify opportunities and challenges, anticipate trends, and formulate policies that align with its broader objectives over an extended period. By adopting a long-term perspective, China aims to mitigate risks associated with short-term fluctuations and uncertainties. Rather than reacting impulsively to immediate developments, China takes a cautious and calculated approach, seeking to minimize potential negative impacts on its investments, interests, and relationships. This includes assessing political, economic, and social dynamics in partner countries like Niger and adjusting strategies accordingly to navigate potential challenges. Long-term engagement fosters trust, stability, and predictability in China's relationships with other countries. By demonstrating a commitment to sustained cooperation and mutual benefit, China aims to build trust and goodwill over time. This approach is particularly relevant in regions like Africa, where historical legacies, cultural differences, and complex socio-political dynamics require patient and consistent engagement to cultivate enduring partnerships. China's long-term perspective extends to its investments in infrastructure, energy, and other sectors aimed at promoting sustainable development in countries like Niger. Rather than pursuing short-term gains, China prioritizes projects that contribute to long-term economic growth, social progress, and environmental sustainability. This includes investments in renewable energy, healthcare, education, and poverty alleviation, essential for achieving lasting benefits for China and its partner countries. Dialogue and negotiation are central to China's long-term approach to foreign relations. Instead of resorting to coercion or confrontation, China emphasizes diplomatic engagement, mutual respect, and win-win cooperation. This enables China to address differences, resolve disputes, and build consensus through patient and persistent dialogue, ultimately strengthening its relationships with countries like Niger on a foundation of trust and cooperation. So, China's long-term perspective in foreign relations and investments reflects its strategic vision, risk management strategy, commitment to stability and sustainability, and preference for dialogue and cooperation. By prioritizing long-term interests over short-term gains, China seeks to build enduring partnerships that contribute to mutual prosperity, peace, and development in the international community. Is this why Africa loves China? If it were some Western nations, they would be forced to have control, but China is letting it go. At the heart of China's non-interference policy lies a recognition of nations' sovereignty, regardless of their size or geopolitical significance. Unlike past colonial powers, which often sought to impose their political, economic, and cultural systems upon their colonies, China maintains that each nation has the right to chart its course without external interference. This approach reflects a deep-seated respect for the principles of self-determination and independence, which resonates strongly with many African countries that have endured the legacies of colonial domination. China's rejection of interference in the internal affairs of other countries is not merely a rhetorical stance, but is reflected in its diplomatic engagements and development projects across Africa. Unlike some Western nations criticized for attaching political conditions to aid and investment, China often emphasizes a policy of non-conditionality, allowing African governments greater agency in determining their development priorities. This approach has garnered support from many African leaders who see it as a welcome departure from the paternalistic attitudes of former colonial powers. Moreover, China's non-interference policy aligns with the growing calls within the international community for a more equitable and respectful approach to global governance. In an era marked by increasing multipolarity and a desire for greater inclusivity in decision-making processes, China's emphasis on non-interference serves as a counterbalance to the perceived hegemony of Western powers. By championing sovereignty and non-interference, China seeks to foster a more pluralistic and harmonious world order where nations can pursue their development without fear of external coercion or domination. Not just this, but China's burgeoning economic relationship with Africa has ushered in a new era of trade and investment opportunities, offering African nations access to capital, technology, and markets that are instrumental in driving economic diversification and sustainable development. Chinese investment, spanning many sectors, including manufacturing, agriculture, telecommunications, and construction, has catalyzed growth and innovation across the continent, fostering greater economic resilience and competitiveness. At the heart of China's economic engagement with Africa lies a commitment to mutual benefit and cooperation. Chinese firms, backed by ample capital and technological prowess, have ventured into African markets, seeking opportunities for investment and partnership. These investments inject much-needed funds into African economies and bring valuable expertise and know-how, helping to upgrade infrastructure, boost productivity, and modernize industries. One of the key drivers of China-Africa economic ties is trade. China has emerged as Africa's largest trading partner, with bilateral trade volumes reaching unprecedented levels in recent years. African countries export diverse commodities to China, including oil, minerals, agricultural products, and raw materials. Chinese imports into Africa encompass a broad spectrum of manufactured goods, machinery, and consumer electronics. This robust trade relationship has contributed to economic growth and development on both sides, providing African countries with a vital source of revenue and stimulating demand for Chinese products and services. Moreover, Chinese investment in African manufacturing has helped to catalyze industrialization and job creation across the continent. Chinese firms, attracted by Africa's abundant natural resources and growing consumer markets, have established manufacturing plants and assembly lines in countries such as Ethiopia, Kenya, and Niger, producing goods ranging from textiles and garments to electronics and automotive parts. These investments not only generate employment opportunities for local populations, but also foster technology transfer and skills development, laying the groundwork for sustainable economic growth in the long term. In addition to manufacturing, China's engagement with Africa's agricultural sector has unlocked opportunities for productivity enhancement and value addition. Chinese investments in agricultural infrastructure such as irrigation systems, storage facilities, and processing plants aim to modernize and commercialize Africa's agricultural sector, increasing productivity, improving food security, and generating income for smallholder farmers. Furthermore, Chinese companies have actively participated in agricultural value chains, providing inputs, machinery, and expertise to enhance efficiency and competitiveness. The telecommunications sector represents another area of significant Chinese investment in Africa. Chinese companies, such as Huawei and ZTE, have played a pivotal role in expanding Africa's telecommunications infrastructure, deploying advanced technologies and services to connect previously underserved communities and bridge the digital divide. Through partnerships with local operators and governments, Chinese firms have facilitated the rollout of 3G, 4G, and even 5G networks, enabling greater access to information, communication, and e-commerce opportunities. These are enough reasons to love China, but there are more. China's framing of its relationship with African countries as a form of South-South cooperation represents a powerful narrative that resonates deeply with African leaders and populations alike. This narrative emphasizes the principles of solidarity, mutual respect, and shared development goals among nations of the global South, highlighting a departure from traditional North-South dynamics characterized by asymmetrical power, relations, and dependency. At the heart of China's South-South cooperation narrative is a recognition of the historical legacies of colonialism, imperialism, and exploitation that have shaped the relationship between the global North and the global South. China portrays itself not as a neo-colonial power, seeking to impose its will upon African nations, but as a fellow developing country that has faced similar challenges and struggles on its path to development. China seeks to forge alliances based on equality, reciprocity, and shared prosperity by positioning itself as a partner rather than a patron. Moreover, China's emphasis on South-South cooperation resonates with Africa's aspirations for greater agency, autonomy, and self-determination in international affairs. African countries, many of which have emerged from decades of colonial rule and struggle against external interference, are eager to assert their sovereignty and place on the global stage as equal partners. China's solidarity and mutual support narrative aligns with Africa's quest for dignity, empowerment, and recognition on the world stage. China's South-South cooperation narrative emphasizes practical cooperation and tangible benefits for African nations. Unlike some Western donors that attach conditionalities to their aid and assistance, China offers a no-strings-attached approach that allows African countries greater flexibility in determining their development priorities. By providing financial resources, technical expertise, and infrastructure investments, China seeks to support Africa's efforts to overcome poverty, achieve sustainable development, and improve the livelihoods of its people. Furthermore, China's framing of its relationship with Africa as South-South cooperation is a counterweight to Western dominance in global governance and international institutions. By championing the voices and interests of developing countries, China seeks to rebalance the distribution of power and influence in the international system, promoting a more inclusive and equitable order that reflects the diversity of the world's peoples and perspectives. Another reason to love China is its commitment to a long-term perspective in its relations with Africa, highlighting its strategic vision and commitment to fostering sustainable development and cooperation on the continent. Unlike short-term oriented approaches that prioritize immediate gains or narrowly defined interests, China's engagement with Africa focuses on building enduring partnerships, fostering mutual trust, and contributing to the long-term socio-economic development of African nations. We have also discussed it in detail. These are enough reasons for you to know why China is beloved. But when they love China so much, why didn't they let it take over its oil? What is the stance of General Chiani's administration regarding the balance between asserting local control over Niger's oil industry and maintaining partnerships with foreign companies? On the one hand, there is a clear intention to assert greater local control over Niger's oil resources, as evidenced by the decrees issued by the junta transferring control of major oil blocks to the Nigerian Petroleum Products Company. This move reflects a strategic effort to assert national sovereignty and ensure that Nigerians have a greater say in managing and developing their country's valuable oil assets. However, the administration also recognizes the importance of maintaining partnerships with foreign companies, particularly those with expertise and resources in the oil sector. Despite the efforts to assert local control, there is an acknowledgement that foreign partnerships can bring valuable technical know-how, investment, and infrastructure development to Niger's oil industry. And how is Sonidep expected to contribute to the management and development of Niger's oil resources, and what role might it play in future operations? Sonidep, the Nigerian petroleum products company, is expected to play a crucial role in the management and development of Niger's oil resources, following the decrees issued by General Chiani's administration. With the transfer of control over major oil blocks from foreign entities like the China National Petroleum Corporation (CNPC) to Sonidep, the company is poised to assume a central position in shaping the future of Niger's oil industry. Sonidep's contributions to the management and development of Niger's oil resources are multifaceted. Sonidep aims to leverage the expertise of local engineers and professionals specializing in oil extraction, refinery, and petroleum product development. By tapping into this talent pool, Sonidep can ensure that Nigerians are actively involved in managing and developing their country's oil resources. Sonidep is also expected to spearhead infrastructure development initiatives within the oil sector. This includes the construction of refineries, pipelines, and other essential facilities to support the exploration, production, and transportation of oil within Niger. Its involvement in the management of Niger's oil resources is driven by a desire to maximize the economic benefits derived from the sector. By assuming control over major oil blocks, Sonidep can ensure that revenue generated from oil production contributes to the economic development and welfare of the Nigerian people. In future operations, it is likely to play a central role in shaping the direction of Niger's oil industry. Sonidep will make strategic decisions regarding the sector's exploration, production, and investment as the primary entity responsible for managing and developing the country's oil resources. Furthermore, its role may extend beyond purely operational matters to include policy formulation and regulatory oversight within the oil industry. By working in collaboration with government agencies and other stakeholders, Sonidep can help establish a framework that promotes transparency, sustainability, and equitable distribution of oil revenues in Niger. Do you think China has proven why it's the best? Should it be valued more than the West? Let us know in the comment section. Does China deserve the appreciation it gets from Africa? Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If so, subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon next to it. We have decided to bring videos on something nobody talks about: the Black culture, civilization, history, and evidence about how glorious Blacks have been. Thanks for watching, and until the next video, stay tuned.